What's up, everyone? Lee Sanders here, checking out an all-new The RCWR Show for the week of December 30th, 2018. Yes, we're doing this recording on a Sunday. This is a first for us because, my God, like, other than doing the WWE, sometimes TNA, or a major sporting event post-show, this is like a rarity that we do this for you guys. And with the whole holidays these past 2 weeks, it just made a lot of sense to give you guys episodes as far removed from the holiday as much as humanly possible. When I say removed, like days before, basically. So last week we gave you guys an early episode because really it didn't make sense to come on Christmas Eve going into Christmas Day. That didn't make a lot of sense since people were most likely going to be driving, being with their families, all that good jazz. And then this week, as I did give you guys a heads up on last week's show, I said, look, with the New Year's Eve and day holidays coming up, doesn't really make a lot of sense to pump out an episode New Year's Day, basically. Nah, let's just kind of avoid that altogether. So we're doing this for Sunday, December 30th. And the way I'm gonna basically pan this out, our Patreon members are gonna get this episode first. It's gonna be commercial free, no ads, none of that jazz. If anything, Patreon shout outs, that's it. But then when we get ready to release the audio version of this on all the platforms, there will be a lot of commercials, things of that nature. We got to recognize our sponsors because without their kind contributions, shows like what you're checking out right now would not remain free. So the on-demand downloads audio version of this very episode will be available at 12 p.m. Eastern on December 31st, right? And the goal for the web stream episode, it will be available at that same time as well for everybody to check out. So that's how we're doing it. We're going to be going back to our regular date and time of Tuesdays, 10 p.m. Eastern, as soon as SmackDown goes off the air. That will resume on Tuesday, January the 8th. That's Tuesday, January the 8th. And, you know, now that basically 2018 is coming to a close, I mean, look, we lost a lot of people this year. A lot of people. Wrestling, non-wrestling. We lost a lot of great people. And, my God, if we were to just sit here for the first 15 minutes and just go through all of those that had passed, we would be adding on top of that list. Oh, well, don't forget. Oh, well, how about, but there's so many people that we had lost. And if you want to ask me maybe of the passings, which one was the most influential on my life, I definitely would have to say the Stan Lee is the one, especially, and so many people that talked about his passing, and I won't say they tried to make a mockery of those that were saying, oh no, oh, but when you don't really understand what Stan Lee was going through during those last final years of his life, and then to hear how, okay, ultimately he passed, you can't help but go, damn. It sucks that the last few years of his life, he couldn't just really go out in peace. It sucks that he had all of this controversy, people trying to steal his money, all these backhandling deals that were happening under the table, all of that jazz. But like I said on the RCWR show, days after he had passed, I would not be where I am right now if it wasn't for Stan Lee and the wonderful, colorful characters that basically he introduced me to through his comic books. If it wasn't for him, there's just no telling where I would be right now. Definitely, I would not be doing something like this. I would not be an artist. None of that. None of that. Hands down. And even though I'm a semi-retired artist, time to time I will open up my sketch pad. Nowadays my sketch pad is my tablet, and I will take my Apple Pencil and I will do some really awesome, phenomenal stuff. So, but yeah, you know, there's A lot of deaths from the wrestling standpoint, non-wrestling, and then when you look at some of the stuff that had went down with some of your favorite promotions, there's some good, there's the bad, there's the ugly. We'll dive into a little bit of that. This will be somewhat of a reflective episode, but we'll definitely mix in some new headlines for you guys as well. And it's actually good that we're doing this episode for you guys on a Sunday, because I literally just got done watching the Baltimore Ravens defeat the Cleveland Browns. What a finish to the Browns season. That game, 26-24. That is the final, 26-24. So Baltimore Ravens, they have clinched themselves a playoff spot. And like I had said online, my immediate gut instinct, my gut reactions to what I had saw, pretty much I had said, and I'm paraphrasing here because I can't remember word for word what I said on Twitter, but I basically said, you know, Cleveland Brown fans, you have nothing to be disappointed about. Baker Mayfield has nothing to be disappointed about with regards to how he played overall this season. The Browns organization have themselves one fine young quarterback. And basically my message for the Cleveland Browns was to stay the course, but I couldn't help but end it with a question, which is, imagine what would have happened had Baker Mayfield got the start week 1 or week 2 of this 2018-19 season. Is it possible that the Cleveland Browns would have already locked up a playoff berth? You just can't help but really wonder one of those things. You know, it's what if, right? That really comes to mind. But for this young quarterback, great debut, and the rookie record that he had brought in, Baker Mayfield has surpassed Peyton Manning and Russell Wilson for the most TDs by a rookie quarterback in NFL history. I'm telling you, as long as Baker Mayfield stays the course, if he wants to continue playing football for many years, he is going to be a household name. He is definitely, the way he's continuing to play, he keeps it up like that, he's going to be in the same conversations of the Peyton Mannings, of the Tom Bradys, of the Drew Breeses, Colin Kaepernicks, all of those guys. He's definitely going to be a household name for many years to come. And it's so interesting because when you look at the overall highlights of this game and you look at basically the time of possession, everything, I mean, it's somewhat okay. Well, nah, they got him beat by this, but when you look at the time of possession, Baltimore really dominated more. They basically practically doubled
mix your choice of two favorites on the remix 2 for $5 mix and match.
Browns only clocked in overall of having the ball for 21 minutes. Meanwhile, the Ravens had it for 38 minutes. You look at your first downs, almost at a stalemate. Browns had 18, Ravens had 24. For total yards, Browns had 426, Ravens 463. Passing yards, Browns crushed the Ravens. They had 376 to 167, but when you look at the rushing yards, Baltimore had the Browns beat 296 to their 50. Penalties, Browns did pretty damn good. Only 4. Meanwhile, Ravens 10. Total yards return, or total return yards, 108 for the Browns to Ravens 37. Total plays, Browns 56, Ravens 73. So you look at that, and you can kind of see, okay, so Baker Mayfield on the offensive end, he was going for the passing yards. Meanwhile, Ravens game, their whole MO was the rushing yards. And I have to tell you, Ravens, they did good. Look, I'm not going to throw any shade at the Baltimore Ravens right now. I know they are going through a transitional phase right now, especially now that Joe Flacco is basically second string. I got to tell you, the young kid that's playing the quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens, I can't think of his name right now. I want to say maybe Lamar Jackson. Yes, Lamar Jackson. He's doing pretty good. He is doing pretty good. I'm very impressed with what I'm seeing of the young man. And I tell you what, Joe Flacco, he should never have gotten that new deal from the Ravens organization a couple of years back. I did not feel he was deserving for it, because my whole philosophy is, okay, that's great that you did what you did. You took the team to the Super Bowl. You got him a Super Bowl win, but let's see what you can do now that you're the defending champion. Can you repeat that same success? If not, get your team to the Super Bowl. Can you get into the postseason once again? Can you get to that point? And you know, he didn't deserve that contract as far as I'm concerned. And I have a feeling that if things could have changed differently, the organization, the owner, maybe they would have put a little bit of an asterisk by that new contract. But Lamar Jackson is doing a really, really damn good job. Only 21 years of age. Joe Flacco, you just don't know. I mean, this offseason, Ravens organization, they have a very interesting situation on their hands. Do they try to unload on Joe Flacco, see if they can maybe trade him to an organization, find another club that's going to be willing to pick up the remaining of his contract and pay forward whatever money that they might owe him? Or is it going to be a situation where they're just going to ride it out for the remainder of Flacco's contract? Only time is going to tell with that. But you know, this game had a lot of suspense. It had a lot of drama, because had the Browns won, then the Steelers would have been a lock for the playoffs. So the Pittsburgh Steelers' future, they did their part. They won their game, but everything had depended on whether or not Cleveland was going to be able to go into this game against the Ravens today and beat them. And sadly, they were not able to do so. So look, if you want to ask me, is there still hope for the Steelers? Because they showed a very interesting statistic that just really had me go, well, that's pretty interesting. Wasn't quite aware of that, huh? Don't really know if that's going to happen, but yeah, okay, we'll just wait and see how that plays out. But no, they basically did an update of the AFC picture, and so just to recap, Kansas City, they're in, these are your division leaders. Kansas City, they've clinched home field advantage during the playoffs. You got New England Patriots, they've clinched the first round bye. Houston, they're in the playoffs. Baltimore's in the playoffs. Your wild card, Los Angeles Chargers and the Indianapolis Colts. Now, Chargers and Indy, they are supposed to be playing later tonight. If I'm not mistaken, that's going to be the very last game to come on tonight, because I'm actually looking at the NFL schedule right now. And actually, you know what? Let me actually go back one more time. Yes, I'm reading it right. Yeah. Actually, no, the Colts are taking on the Tennessee Titans. Forgive me. The Colts are taking on the Tennessee Titans tonight. Both of those teams have a record of 9-6. And there's a lot of implications for this one. Basically, you win, you're in. The other team, your ass go home. Now, what I was trying to say earlier is, if the Colts and Titans, this game tonight, if it ends in a tie, which very unlikely to happen, but if it were to end in a tie, then the Pittsburgh Steelers would get into the wild card that way. And they would be the ones
McDonald's
to
2 for
face
$5 mix and match deal is that.
I know that's really crazy when you stop and you hear that, right? But that's exactly how they can still get into this. If you would have told me that Big Ben and the Steelers were going to be out of the playoffs, I would have said to you, I'm having a hard time believing that. I'm not buying that. Like, seriously, what happened? Did Big Ben get injured? What happened? I mean, AB get injured? What exactly went down? Were they plagued with injuries as bad as the Washington Redskins? I mean, their number jumped from 17 to 24 now. So it's like, wait a minute, what exactly happened here? So that's what's going on with the AFC side now. For those of you that may be going, okay, well, what's going on with the NFC side of the picture? For the NFC, we've got the Rams. We've got the Seahawks. See, who else do we have in there?
McDonald's 2 for $5 mix and match deal is back. And the fresh beef quarter pounder with cheese is the new headline.
We've got the Cowboys, and
mix your choice of two favorites on the remix 2 for $5 mix and match deal.
They're pretty damn good today. I was very surprised that Jerry Jones had let all of his starters play except for Zeke Elliott. Zeke Elliott, he just went on ahead and gave him the game day off, which I think is a very smart move. We're definitely going to be needing him a lot more when it comes playoff time.
Somehow he got free.
There's that part of me that was just
what a run back it is.
Jerry, are you really sure this is the right move you should be doing? Because you're already in the playoffs. Why do you even want to risk injury to your top stars? Do you really want to risk that? And I couldn't help but maybe just kind of take a step back, and I thought about how it was that last season that Tony Romo
McDonald's
had
2 for
played,
$5 mix and
Jerry
match deal
Jones
is back.
basically,
and the
okay,
fresh
nah,
beef
we're
quarter
gonna
pounder
let
with
all
cheese
of
is the new headline.
primary guys, we're gonna let them go on ahead and rest up.
Mix your choice of two favorites on the remix 2 for $5 mix and match deal.
And we all saw what had happened when the first string came in for the playoffs. They pretty much had lost that, right? So you can't help but wonder if maybe Jerry's kind of going, nah, I don't want history to repeat itself again. I want to give my team the best momentum that's humanly possible going into the playoffs. Let's have all of our starters. They've been riding this great waves out for these past several weeks. Let's go ahead, present it on a strong note going into the playoffs. Hey, it was a risky move, but at the same time, it was definitely, luckily nothing major had happened. I know Vanderbilt, he had
McDonald's
some type
2 for $5 mix and match deal is back.
sprain.
And the
I
fresh
think they said he
beef
got
quarter
kicked
pounder
in
with
the
cheese is the
knee
new headline.
unintentionally, and you were a little bit concerned when you saw
mix
that.
Your choice of two favorites on the
game that
remix
they played
2 for
against the New
$5
York
mix and
Giants.
match
Final
deal.
score of that one was 36-35. Cowboys have now improved their record to 10-6. Meanwhile, the Giants have fallen 5-11. 5 wins, 11 losses. And for the new head coach that has come into there, and I gotta give them a lot of props. It looks very, very promising for the New York Giants. I like this new coach. I believe his name is Pat Schumer. I like him. He's pretty good. He was the head coach of the Cleveland Browns for a hot cup of coffee. He's also
McDonald's 2 for $5 mix and match deal is back. And the fresh beef quarter pounder with cheese is the new headline.
From his transition as the Giants
your choice
coach
of two
versus
favorites on the
the
remix
last
2 for
guy that was
$5
in
mix
there,
and match deal.
had his little cup of coffee and everything. I gotta tell you, it really feels as though the players believe in Pat. It feels as though there is a battle cry. It feels like there is respect. It feels like there is camaraderie. It feels as though these guys are willing to go out there and they're willing to put it on the line for this coach. They feel empowered is the right way I can describe this. And what I've been seeing from the few televised games we've been able to give us the Giants, it really comes off like night and day when you see the way that these guys are playing and rallying
your choice
for
of
each
two
other.
favorites on the remix
And
2 for $5
I like
mix and
what I'm
match deal.
seeing here. I think they need to add a few more pieces. Of course, very questionable decision that they're going to have to cross that bridge with during the offseason, which is what are you going to do with Eli Manning? Should Eli Manning come back for another season, or are you going to begin the process of having somebody else come in there? What are you going to do with the draft picks? What are you going to do in the free agency market? So a lot of decisions that is going to need to be made. Do you really specifically look at building the future of your club from the offensive standpoint and
McDonald's
go
2
get
for
you a couple
$5
of
mix
young
and match deal
quarterback
is back. And the
prospects?
fresh beef
What do you
quarter
do
pounder with
exactly?
cheese is the
There's
new
a lot.
headline.
There's a lot that they're going to have on their hands when they
Mix
get
your
ready to go
choice of two
into
favorites
this
on the remix 2
offseason.
for
But you know,
$5
I
mix
would
and
like
match
to
deal.
believe that maybe, hopefully, in a perfect world, a situation would occur where they pick up a couple of young TV prospects. And depending on how well Eli is doing for that respective season, or regardless, Eli agrees to just come back for one more season and, I don't know, retire, who knows. But you can't really help but wonder how all that is going to be playing out. I just hope that things will play out in the most respectful way that's feasible for Eli and for the club moving forward. That's all you could really ultimately want, right? Hope you guys had a fantastic Christmas holiday. Mine was pretty damn fantastic. Very relaxing. Enjoyed some nice quality time with the family. Really took it easy. You know, for me, it's a yearly tradition here in the Sanders household. Nothing I love to do more than Christmas Eve going into Christmas Day. I will play, if it's on TBS or TNT, I will put on A Christmas Story. That's one of my all-time favorite holiday movies. Everybody has their favorites, but for me, that is my go-to. I love that movie tremendously. Also, I love It's a Wonderful Life. And it's so funny because I was telling my girl the other day during Christmas holiday, and I said, it's weird, the past couple of years now, they have not shown It's a Wonderful Life. There used to be a time where you'd be able to watch it the night before Christmas on NBC, or somebody was airing it, and she goes, oh, well, my dad said that he had watched it on Saturday night. I'm like, really? What channel? He didn't say, but he did say that he was watching it because I had a phone conversation with him, and I'm going, well, shit, hook me up. And I remember eventually I ended up ordering It's a Wonderful Life through Files. It was available on demand. They had it for a really good deal. It was in HD quality, and it was on sale for $10. And I'm going, oh, well, that's a pretty damn good deal. I mean, you can't beat that. Keep in mind, I already own It's a Wonderful Life, but I don't want to open it. I don't want to open it because when I got it, and I believe I had got it for my birthday, or maybe I got it on Christmas. It was one of those two scenarios, but I know it was one of those two I had got it on. And it's in a big red box, and it's got a snow globe in it and everything. It's really cool. I'll have to take a picture and put it on social media one of these days so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But when I first looked at it, I was really excited, but then I was like, wow, this is a really cool collector's item. I'm not really sure if I really want to open this. So, and you guys got to be careful, because I noticed when you try to see about getting It's a Wonderful Life through Amazon or Best Buy or what have you, you got to be careful, because you got to make sure you're reading the description and what all it entails of that DVD that you're getting, because nowadays in the fine print, it looks like they're trying to pass off the colored versions. And if you remember, Jimmy Stewart and a bunch of other celebrities, some of which before many of them passed, had told Congress, hey, look, we don't want these classic black and white movies to be colorized. You're basically ruining the way that the picture was always intended to be shot. And yeah, and you know how that basically had panned out. So for me, I've never seen the colorized version of It's a Wonderful Life. I don't plan on seeing the colorized version. For me, there's so much more mystery. There is so much more suspense. There is much more of a darkness to it, if you really stop and think about it. I mean, it is so funny too, because I don't mean to get sidetracked, but it still ties into how my Christmas holiday was and everything. Yeah, I watched It's a Christmas Story, and no matter how many times I see that movie, I always come away thinking something different. I always have a different interpretation. And I know this go round, I found myself not only to be in that situation again, but I couldn't help but watch this with the family and say, wonder why they didn't do a follow-up, because this movie, it pretty much, I looked at the budget and I said, wow, so they almost kind of doubled their profits. They ended up getting back their money that they put in to make the movie and then some. It definitely had warranted a sequel, and I couldn't help but wonder, for the love of me, because this movie came out in '83, why they didn't follow up a couple of years later and do a sequel. And instead they basically waited until like I want to say it was like 92 or whatever. And then there was actually another one that had came out in the late 2000s. But both of those, they flopped when it's all said and done. Both of those flopped tremendously. And that was something I just really couldn't wrap my finger around as far as why they didn't follow up. Because it would have made a lot more sense if they would have went to the same cast from 1983 and just followed up with them 3 years later or whatever, or 4 years later or whatever. And then boom, there you go again, you know, rinse, repeat, because all of them were still alive by that point. So it was always one of those head scratchers that made you go, wonder why they didn't do a follow-up. But I ended up feeling a little bit more emotional as I was watching A Christmas Story. And then I really was emotional getting into It's a Wonderful Life. And I didn't really realize until I watched it on Christmas how dark of a movie that it is. I mean, at one point, George Bailey having the whole, you know, I just want to commit suicide. What the hell? What's this life for? I mean, it was just some really dark, heavy shit. And I couldn't help but go, man, in 2018, I can kind of understand it now why this may not be airing on TV like it used to, because it's pretty damn dark. And with this PC society that we're in, this PG society that we're in, it may not exactly be for everybody. I mean, look, you guys saw how everybody was up in a uproar over the Netflix description of Thanos for Avengers Infinity War, right? They basically had called him a world harboring sociopath or whatever, and people were in an uproar over that. And Netflix eventually had changed it just to basically cater to those that were crying a fit, right? And then, I mean, look, this is the same flock of people that were crying foul when they had read the episode description on Netflix for Gossip Girl, because they were like, hey, who at Netflix doesn't like Gossip Girl? I mean, the description is pretty obvious, and you're going, who cares? Like, as long as the episodes are on point, nothing else really matters. What the hell? But it's just so freaking funny how our society, this is the same society that was mouthing off about freaking Friends almost being pulled from Netflix. And Netflix, I had covered the numbers on an earlier episode of the RCWR Show. We were talking about how they spent buku's millions of dollars to keep Friends on Netflix. Meanwhile, they could have taken that same amount of money and they could have kept some of these Netflix original shows like Iron Fist, Luke Cage, and Daredevil. But no, they wanted to keep Friends. Okay, whatever. But no, my Christmas was really nice. Made a awesome dinner and everything. It was good. I can't complain. I hope your Christmas was definitely on point as well. I see, not really too much stuff had went down since last we were on the air with you guys. It's been a little bit of a slow week as far as headlines go. Probably one of the joints that stands out the most, going into wrestling for just a little bit. WWE, they had returned to MSG. This is their yearly thing, yearly tradition around this time of the year. They went to New York to do a WWE live event at Madison Square Garden, and it drew a little over 11,900 fans. Yes, a little over 11,900 were in attendance. You can't help but wonder how many of those were comped. Now, this information is according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter. This is the smallest crowd for a show on the annual post-Christmas live event tour in recent years. WWE has not sold out a live event at MSG in a few years now. This is consecutive years, mind you. Meanwhile, Wednesday's live event at the All-State Arena near Chicago, that drew just a little over 6,000 fans. You can't help but wonder how much of that may have been comped as well. And then the post-Christmas live event in Chicago, just going back to it one more time, usually the post-Christmas live events in Chicago draws around 10,000 fans. So what does that tell you? It should tell you that this is really a sign of the times as far as what is going on with the production, the quality that is coming from the WWE. And if you remember, I said at the very top of the show that I would definitely get into a little bit of the good, the bad, the ugly, be a little bit reflective on what all has been coming about from some of our promotions, some of our favorite promotions this year. And look, man, when you combine those numbers that I just told you, and you combine that with what WWE RAW had did for this week. Remember, I put that question out there. We talked about it on last week's show. And I told you guys how I had put out a tweet, and I basically was saying, hey, with the numbers going as low as it's going for the WWE RAW flagship show, you can't help but wonder if in 2019, if the ratings may be the new norm of 900,000 to maybe 1.2 million, right? You look at this Christmas episode of Raw that came about. This one had scored 1.775 million viewers, down 30% from last week's episode where Vince McMahon, Stephanie McMahon, Shane McMahon, Paul Levesque, aka Triple H, all had returned to shake things up. And I had basically, I put out a Facebook post and I had talked about this, and in part, I had said pretty much everything that I just told you up to now, and then I put a PS at the end of it. I said, don't even try to justify this by saying spoilers and the show was taped. If you've paid attention to this particular show over the years, you know spoilers always get put out when taped. Taped or not, the numbers don't lie, as it is a reflection of how poor in quality this show has gotten. I talked about this on the podcast this week, so now last week. So save yourself the typing before posting that argument, because it is weak sauce. And we actually did have somebody try to say, oh, but you know, it was taped though. And there were a couple of people, including myself, that just did the whole laughing emoji. It was like, oh, but this match was really good, and it's like, nah, save it. We're not about, it's all about the quality, you know. And anybody that wants to try to say, oh, well, it's the Christmas episode, I did it on last week's show. I basically gave you just a small bite-sized sample of how the previous Christmas episodes did in viewership, taped or not, leading up to now. Because remember, last year, and it had fans in a uproar, and I don't see a lot of people talking about this, but last year, fans were in an uproar about 2 or maybe 3 months before December had dropped, because the news had broke out that SmackDown and Raw would be live for Christmas and New Year's, and everybody was upset at that because everybody was taking to social media, websites, podcasters and all, and they basically were saying, hey, look, this should be that time where the talent are able to spend quality time with their loved ones. The hell with entertaining us for that respective week. We'll be all right. Either give us something taped or take that week off. We're good. And there was so much of an uproar about all of that, that I would like to imagine, not just with what the fans were saying on social media, but okay, from production cost standpoint, you know, if it's not making dollars, then it don't make that common sense, I always say. And so they probably looked at a couple of things and factored in, okay, well, you know what? Yeah, let's not be live this go around. Let's go on ahead and let's make it be pre-taped. No problem. Whether it's taped or pre-taped, when you just look at how those Christmas episodes have been doing over the years, this is the lowest that it's ever been. And that should be a reflection of overall how the audience feels about the quality in the product that they've been getting from WWE when it comes to Raw. Look, if you are the type of person that has said, okay, you know, I can't stand what's going on with Raw, let me give SmackDown an opportunity, you are probably one of the few, the proud, the only, that are saying now, hey, SmackDown is actually the better show. I stopped watching Raw, I'm watching SmackDown now. There have been many of my colleagues, there have been many wrestling fans that have said SmackDown has been the better show. Yeah, some weeks might be a little bit off, but even on their weeks where they have off episodes, they're still better than Raw. You had Bully Ray, I can't remember exactly the interview that he gave it to, but you had Bully Ray that recently had talked about how, hey, SmackDown is the better show right now, and he laid out everything as far as why it's the better show, and he talked about it and approached it from a creative standpoint, and he also had talked about it from a fan standpoint that's watching it as well. And to follow up on the whole with Jimmy Jacobs, who used to be a producer / writer for the WWE, and who's the other one? Seth Rollins. They were kind of going back and forth. Was Jimmy Jacobs a writer for WWE? Forgive me if I may have said that in error. I just want to make sure I correct myself, because that's the thing. Unlike some people, if I make a mistake on this show, I mean, it happens. We're all human, right? And there's so much that you try to remember and your notes and all that. I really wasn't ready to talk about him. That's why I was going to say, I try to have this show be as loose as humanly possible. But the exchange that Jimmy Jacobs and Seth Rollins had on social media, I know Jimmy Jacobs is now doing something behind the scenes for TNA. I know that much. But they were talking about how writing for the WWE is hard, because they basically have to write 6 hours of programming every single week. And no, let's not make excuses. Let's not make excuses, because insight has been given by the Vince Russos. Insight has been given, to a degree by the, I'm trying to think, Dave Lagana's, the Wade Kellers. And basically, when you are writing these scripts for these shows, you basically are writing for an audience of one, which is Vince McMahon. It is all about trying to make him happy instead of, hey, look, boss, this is where we think we need to go. This is what's going to have a lot of people talking. This is really what's going to go over with the fans. Right? That's basically what it is. It's almost like, hey, write me a newspaper. Well, what would you like us to write about? Well, this, that's basically how it comes off. And I'm sorry, that's just a very weak excuse when it's a situation where all of these respected people that have contributed a lot to the business that I just named are all basically saying, and they're not even talking to each other on these shows, they're all saying at different courses throughout the year, over the years, that basically these shows are written for one audience member, which is McMahon. And everybody is just, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. Nobody is, hey, look, really think we need to go. And I get that, because they've got their security financially. They don't want to be without a job. I get that. I get that. I mean, some of us would probably be in that same situation to a degree. Some of us would probably be in that same situation. But no, man, it's sad, because you look at how Raw is operating. And I mean, come on, look, let's be honest. You had the whole shakeup. We read you guys the results of what was going to be coming about from last week's Raw. I can't tell you how many people were taking to the Reddits, the Twitters, the Facebooks, or whatever their favorite online form of communication is, and was talking about how, oh, yeah, get to skip Raw this week because saw the results and, oh my God, blah, 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 right? You look at what's going to be coming about from the New Year's Eve edition of Monday Night Raw, and I'm letting you guys know right now, my allergies is kicking my butt so bad, I may have to end up blowing my nose. So if I have to blow my nose, I think I'm going to go ahead and blow my nose. But you guys are not going to see me blow my nose. So let me actually just go ahead and blow my nose real quick. Because if I don't get this out right now, you guys are going to be seeing me fickle with my nose for the next little bit. So sadly, the audio will have this edited. I don't really know if I'll be able to edit this video wise, but I'll just move over here real quick so I can blow my nose. Oh, God, that feels a lot better. I think I'm okay. Oh my God, that feels a lot better. Okay. Whew, gotta make sure. Oh my God, I don't know what it is. It seems like every time I get ready to do the show in here, like usually, if not every single time, every other time, my nose, it burns up really, really bad. Really, really bad. I can't stand it. All right, see how we're doing so far. All right, so we're good so far. I'm just checking out the stream, making sure everything is good to go here, and we're good so far. All right, so yeah, you look at the quality of the shows, and like I was saying before I had to blow there, I had to blow my nose. Let me make sure I rephrase that, because it's like, wait a minute, before I had to blow, it's like, wait a minute, blow, what, cocaine, what you sucking, what are we talking about here now? What do you blow my nose? So look, we got the New Year's Eve spoilers for Raw for this week. And look, if you guys don't want to hear this, I mean, hey, I'll do this much for you. I won't tell you who defeated who. How about that? Is that fair? Okay, so here we go. We've got Drew McIntyre taking on Dolph Ziggler. Steel cage match. Apparently, a new #1 contender was crowned to face Dean Ambrose for the Intercontinental Championship. Sasha Banks, Bayley, and Amber Moon took on the Riot Squad. Bobby Lashley faced Seth Rollins. Jinder Mahal and the Singh brothers took on Heath Slater and Rhino. Dean Ambrose went on to face that person that won the Battle Royal to win the right to face him for the Intercontinental title. Yeah, Dean Ambrose faced them on this same episode. Meanwhile, Ronda Rousey and Natalya teamed up to take on Nia Jax and Tamina Snuka. All right, and apparently there was a backstage segment somewhat similar to what AJ Styles had with Vince McMahon, where the game had told Rollins he wanted to see the old signs of his former self. He wanted to see the old Seth Rollins that basically led him to become a undisputed champion and everything, and apparently some of that old Rollins would come out in his match against, who was it, Bobby Lashley? So, I mean, will I watch this episode? I'll probably be fast forwarding like a mother, but I will definitely check it out just to be checking it out, but And then you have the SmackDown New Year's Day. Again, I'm not going to tell you guys how these matches played out, but I will tell you what the card is. So, New Day, they announced their entry into the Royal Rumble. Jeff Hardy had faced Samoa Joe. Sonya Deville faced Naomi. John Cena and Becky Lynch teamed up to take on Cien Almas and Zelina Vega. AJ Styles... looks like this was a Fatal 5-Way match. AJ Styles, Randy Orton, Samoa Joe, Rey Mysterio, and Mustafa Ali. Fatal 5-Way to earn a title shot against Daniel Bryan at the Royal Rumble. John Cena issues a challenge, an open challenge to anyone on the roster that had warranted a pretty interesting come out. And other than that, that's really it. I think I'll probably end up watching SmackDown a lot more than Raw. Because it's like we could only see but so many. You know what I mean? That Raw card that I just read, nothing is exciting. Nothing is exciting whatsoever, man. I honestly could care less about that. I honestly could. You know, what I would like to see in the coming year. And can I go back to the MSG event one more time for those of you that may be a little bit curious before anybody asks, hey, what happened at the MSG event? Your results: John Cena defeated Baron Corbin. Apparently Apollo Crews had won a battle royal to earn a future WWE Intercontinental title shot. That match also featured Connor, Victor, Zack Ryder, Kurt Hawkins, Rhino, Heath Slater, No Way Jose, Titus O'Neil, Jinder Mahal. We need to home in on Zack Ryder in a hot second. Sasha Banks and Bayley defeated Mickie James and Alicia Fox with Dana Brooke. WWE UK Champion Pete Dunne, NXT North American Champion Ricochet, Aleister Black, Matt Riddle, and the Velveteen Dream defeated NXT Champion Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, the Undisputed Era. And that picture of Black, Riddle, Dream, Ricochet, Pete Dunne, they had a lot of people talking online as far as, hey, this is the next elite. This could be the eventual future that we'll be seeing on the main roster. These could be the guys that could take the company into that next glass breaking era, if you will. There's a lot of people that's really high on these guys coming up to the main roster there. So look, I've got nothing bad to say about any of these guys. I mean, the sky is the limit for whenever they get ready to come up on the main roster. I'm hoping but nothing but good things to happen for these guys, honestly. Elias defeated Bobby Lashley with Lio Rush in a guitar on the pole match. Natty and Amber Moon defeated Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott with Sarah Logan. Finn Balor defeated Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler in a triple threat. Raw Tag Champions Chad Gable, Bobby Roode retained their tag titles over the Authors of Pain. And the Revival. Authors of Pain and the Revival. It was a triple threat match. Intercontinental Championship, Dean Ambrose retained over Seth Rollins, steel cage match. And for the Raw Women's Championship, Ronda Rousey retained over Nia Jax with Tamina Snuka. So that's pretty much what had went down at the MSG show. You know, I was homing in there on Zack Ryder. I had mentioned him briefly. And there was a very interesting post that he had put up on Twitter a couple of days ago. And it had got a lot of buzz. It built up a lot of steam. A lot of people were talking about this. And basically, I'll read to you what he had said. He put out this tweet. He said, I haven't had one match on Monday Night Raw in 2018 yet. One more Raw left. Hashtag always ready. Hashtag still here. Now, just think about that for a second. Now, I just told you guys Zack Ryder had participated at a house show event. Sometimes this happens. Sometimes at a WWE live event, some of your favorite stars that you don't get an opportunity to see, sometimes they will perform maybe exclusively at a live event. Maybe they'll participate in a dark show, things of that nature. So he puts this out, building up some buzz. And this had a lot of people talking, saying, hey, look, man, maybe it's time for you to hit the bricks. Maybe it's time for you to leave the WWE. Go to another promotion. What the hell? Blah, 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 blah. That's pretty much was the whole thing, right? And it's funny that we're here talking about Zack Ryder because we did a Pro Wrestling Crate review a couple of days ago. It's actually available on the YouTube channel. You can find it. It's a recurring theme now. That was actually our third crate that we had reviewed. It was for the month of December. That was actually a staff favorites edition that they had assembled for that month's respective crate. And there was a really cool autograph Zack Ryder picture that we had got. And it was pretty badass. Go check it out when you get a chance. Of course, after you get done checking out this episode. But Cody Rhodes eventually had chimed in and tried to give Zack Ryder a little bit of perspective. He said, and I quote, "Some perspective for you, babe. Several years ago, the biggest star in the world in MSG, The Rock, was standing in the ring and the crowd was chanting, "We want Ryder. Whatever you do now, do it without fear." I mean, Pam went and did that Pratt Institute thing. And, you know, for me, I had said to Zack Ryder before Cody and everybody else even jumped out there like that, as soon as I had saw this in my respective timeline, I basically gave Zack Ryder some food for thought, and I hope he had found the words, and I hope it had sat in well with him. But the tweet that I had put out to him, and I'm actually looking at my Twitter timeline right now. Let me see if I can actually have this ready to go here. I'll have to go with tweets and replies. And let me see where the Zack Ryder post is. Bear with me a second here, folks, and I'll pull this up for you guys. I didn't really interact that much throughout the weekend, so I should be able to find this without any problems. And survey says, yep, here it is. I said, this is the part where it's time to take a step back and reevaluate. What makes you happy? What brings you the most fun? What motivates you? Where do you want to see yourself right now or 3 to 5 years from now? Is it wrestling or non-wrestling? Search within, man. Godspeed. That's basically what I had said to Zack Ryder, and hopefully he had found that message well, because I meant every single word of it. And I included a GIF, which, because as I was typing this out, I thought of one of my all-time favorite Will Smith movies, which is The Pursuit of Happiness. And there's a line where he's talking to his son. He says, if you want something, go get it, period. And that's exactly the GIF. He's saying that. You don't see his son, but you see Will Smith in character. He's got his hand on the fence, and he's saying those lines to his son. And I mean every single word of that. I mean, Zack Ryder has a decision to make. I mean, yeah, sure, it's great that you're in a position where you get to travel all around the world. You get to meet really cool, interesting, fun people. You get to taste different cuisines. You know, but you're living your life in a suitcase. You're basically a circus animal if you really stop and think about it. You basically are going from one city to another, and you know, depending on how much downtime you have, you've really got to cram in that R&R time when you're not at work, right? So life on the road can be very difficult. That's why you always hear from wrestlers and shoot interviews and things of that nature, when it comes to them trying to find love outside of wrestling and try to settle down with somebody that is not familiar with the business and everything. That's why you hear so many wrestlers that one marriage after another, and why it gels much better when it's a wrestler in a relationship with another wrestler, right? Because they're both on the road, they both know what it's like, they're both traveling together, and they can pretty much make it work together. It's interesting how this current generation of wrestlers is coming together, if you really stop and think about it, because you know, we used to hear the stories all the time of wrestlers that would go to different cities, and after they would get done with a wrestling event, they would go to a nearby bar, they'd go to a nightclub, they'd go to a strip bar or whatever, get their drinking on, get their party on, hook up with some girls and do whatever. And okay, I'm going to Chicago. Oh, all right, let me give Beth a call. I know she's going to be ready for me. Let me let her know I'm coming. All right, I got Michigan on the 21st. Okay, make sure I'm with Stephanie. All right, St. Louis on the 23rd. Okay, I know Rebecca is going to be ready to see me again. Yeah, you know, but when you look at this generation, I'm like literally reminded of the promo that Drew McIntyre had cut a couple of weeks back on Raw, talking about how the current crop of wrestlers, it was actually in his promo, go back and you'll see what I'm talking about. He was referencing how the current flock of wrestlers, they're just in the back, they're playing their video games, all that. And you keep hearing that a lot. I mean, I've seen enough shoot interviews and listened to enough interviews where wrestlers that used to work in the WWE or whatever other promotion, nah, man, it's pretty laid back, just kicking back, playing video games, going to the hotel room, just chilling, watching Netflix. That's pretty much it. Just staying out of trouble. You know, maybe getting on the phone, talking to the family, blah, 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 blah. That's pretty much it. So I find it very interesting how today's wrestlers are operating, but at the same time, look, when you're a wrestler that you're in your 20s, yeah, this is really fucking cool. When you're in your late teens, your early 20s, this is really fucking cool, right? Especially if you come across a situation where, hey, payday's here. Oh man, I get all of this good money, and yeah, that's great. When you're first starting off and you're crammed into a hotel room that you're sharing with 3-4 other people, and y'all are going to the grocery store and you're putting your money together. I mean, come on. The way a lot of these wrestlers are getting paid these days, it ain't the old days like what was going on with Steve Austin, and he basically was getting a bag of potatoes and basically that was it, and he was usually eating them bitches raw. It ain't like that, okay? If anything, maybe I don't know, maybe $40 worth of ramen noodles or some shit like that, and a loaf of bread, and you're good to go, or some tortilla wraps and some peanut butter and jelly or whatever like that. Yeah, you know, you're doing what you can, you're paying your dues and everything. But you know what? What happens once you're in your 30s? What happens then? You know, where do you see yourself? Because in a couple of years, 35 is going to creep up on you. Zack Ryder is already 33. He's going to be 34 this May 14th. So, you know, you're already 33. Where do you want to see yourself? Does it involve you continuing your education? Does it involve you maybe wanting to go into an entirely different industry, a different field altogether, something non-wrestling related? What exactly do you want to do? You know, what is on your back burner, right? Because look, for the rare times that you're wrestling, just saying, it could happen. Knock on wood that it does not happen. But you could be in a situation where you're in a match and something happens. Bad twist of the ankle, something weird could happen that could basically sideline your career and you're never able to wrestle again. What is your backup plan? What is your exit strategy? And that's the one thing that I have to really commend the current flock of wrestlers that's running around right now. This current flock of wrestlers, the way that a lot of them are operating, I truly believe in my heart of hearts that gone are the days where you're going to be seeing wrestlers like the Hulksters, the Goldbergs, the Ric Flairs, wrestling in their 50s, going into their 60s. You know, you see a lot of these young wrestlers and, okay, I'm going to do what I need to do. I'm going to make my money. I'm already thinking about an exit strategy. A lot of these guys, they've already either gone to college and they've got a bachelor's or a master's in business and finance, you know, fine arts, media, whatever. You know, they've already got their backup plan or they're working on one. Seth Rollins' case, he has a school. I mean, you even hear Seth Rollins. He said it a couple of times now in interviews where, you know, yeah, I definitely see myself doing this for a couple of more years. I'm not really sure what's going to happen, though. I'll probably just go on back to my school because, you know, I got my school. I'll probably focus on training the next generation of talent. So, you know, you've already got him thinking about, hey, this ain't gonna be forever. I'm not gonna be doing this until I'm in my 50s or 60s. And I think gone are those days. I really do. It seems like this current crop of wrestlers are more concerned with, yeah, they want to have the fame, they want to have the success, they want to have the popularity, but they also are really realizing, hey, this isn't forever, and it makes a lot of sense to do a lot of good as possible and setting myself up to be in a position where I don't need to always rely on this as a main source of income. And you know what? God bless them. They're smart for thinking that way, because to hear stories like Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff struggling to take care of the taxes for his house, money so tight for him because he's having a hard time making ends meet, and the autograph signings, all that is just not enough. IRS is getting ready to seize his home, and a GoFundMe and all that is started. And, you know, you see and hear of so many stories where wrestlers of the past are coming across some type of financial difficulty. Or when you think about Kamala, the financial hardship that he was going through with the surgeries, the amputations, his diabetes, all of that stuff, all of that. So for Zack Ryder, you know, this is one of those times where, you know, if there was a guy I'd like to sit down, have a beer with, that's literally what I would say to Zack Ryder. Where did you see yourself by the time you're 35? Where would you like to be? 40 is going to creep up on you before you know it. What makes you happy? What do you want to do? Is it wrestling? Do you want to continue to be in the wrestling business? You know, wrestling isn't all exactly it's cracked up to be. You know, it might not be as dark and ugly as from the Hogan, the Piper, the Jimmy Snuka era and all that, or hell, maybe even the Stone Cold, Bret Hart and all that era. But, you know, you eventually got to think about a exit strategy. You got to. It happens in every single industry, not just pro wrestling, but in particular pro wrestling, but NFL. NFL stands for what? The Not For Long League, right? So if you're lucky 3-5 years tops, make your money, hey, you better have a damn good backup plan. Boxing doesn't last forever. MMA doesn't last forever. Basketball doesn't even last forever as well. It could probably last a lot longer with today's nutrition, the way that you can go about rehabbing your body and everything. You could probably last a little bit longer, but for the type of caliber and player, I mean, you look at a guy like Dwayne Wade and just the way his just declined significantly. Still surprises me to this very day when I stop and I think about it. But, you know, I really hope that Zack Ryder takes all the positivity that was coming his way, because there was definitely more than one person that was talking to him the way that I was talking to him, the way that I was suggesting, hey, look, maybe you should do this instead. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's not about telling somebody what they should do with their lives, because at the end of the day, they are the ones that have to rock that bad boy. They're the ones that got to figure out, okay, what do I want to do, right? All we can do as people that have been watching this person on our TV, or have maybe had the opportunity to interview, see him in person, you know, all we can do is give feedback. But ultimately what he does himself, that's gonna be at his own accord. But Godspeed, Zack Ryder. I really hope that 2019 brings whatever dreams, aspirations, whatever you are trying to accomplish. I hope 2019 you succeed in it fully, 100%. I hope you succeed. Hey, can we get into some shout outs? Definitely want to get into some Patreon member shout outs, because without their kind contributions, shows like what you're checking out right now would not be made possible. So we definitely want to take this time out, recognize our Patreon members. Remember, folks, for just as little as $5 a month, you guys will be able to gain access to bonus audio and video of the RCWR Show, 30 with Lee series that covers nothing but movies, classic, hidden gems, stuff that's maybe available on demand. Really cool series. I love it. We just got done reviewing Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. With the holidays, it was really hard to put that out, especially because there was, I think, another pay-per-view that was coming, and so it was really hard to kind of squeeze that in there, but was able to finally get that out there. That is actually a free-for-all. It is available exclusively on patreon.com/RCWR Show. So you don't need to sign up, I don't believe, but if you do need to sign up, it only takes a couple of seconds. You can do it with Twitter, you can do it with Facebook, or do it with an email, and you'll instantly be able to download the episode afterwards. Again, it is a free for all, so you don't need to be a paying member. Give you a little bit of a taste and what you're missing out on some of the Patreon content. You also get access to the Wrestling with the Topics series hosted by me and the missus, where we dive into a lot of fun topics that's non-wrestling related. It's a great back and forth. It's like ping pong. It's like tennis. It's really good, especially the chemistry. Each episode, we just get into the groove of things. Now, true story, we actually were supposed to be recording an episode for you guys, but she ended up getting really sick. And I think it's her sinuses. She's pretty sure at this point now it's her sinuses, because she's been on some medicine the past couple of days, cough medicine and all that, and she's not getting any better. And at this point, matter of fact, she said to me right before I was getting ready to do the show, she said, I'm pretty confident that it's my sinuses. So we're now going to try to see if we can have her see a doctor first thing tomorrow or Tuesday, hopefully, depending on who's available. Otherwise, it may be a stop to urgent care, which I really don't want her to do that, because that means you would have to come out of pocket. But yeah, patreon.com/RCWR Show. Pretty soon, I'm going to start introducing a prize wall. Also, we're going to start making it possible for people that want to access our private chat server when we get ready to do the shows. Also, just in between the shows, just, talking shit or whatever, you all will definitely be able to have that accessibility. Patreon.com/RCWR Show. Shout out to Anthony Missionary Thomas, my good friend from Wrestling Soup. Happy New Year to you, buddy. Shout out to John Wolf, Joe Raymond Jr., and I think I'm missing somebody. I'm not really sure. I'm actually gonna go to the Patreon page right now, because I feel like I'm missing somebody in there, which sucks, because it's like, dude, you should be able to remember everybody. But sometimes it's a case where when you have a hectic schedule like mine, sometimes it can get really, really Swiss cheese is the best way I can describe it. But no, shout out to Anthony Missionary Thomas from Wrestling Soup. Also, shout out to Michael Wolf, John Davis, and Joe Raymond Jr. Special shout out to Tony Bing Gaming, my man over on YouTube, Tony Bing Gaming. If you play Marvel Strike Force on iOS or Android, you're trying to figure out which heroes you should be spending the most gold in, investing all of your resources. You're trying to figure out how to beat certain blitz modes, certain campaigns, or hey, the upcoming Dark Dimensions. Hey, we've got the Alliance War that's going to be coming pretty soon. You're trying to get the skinny on all of that. Any updates, news, right? The skinny. Check out Tony Bing Gaming on YouTube. YouTube.com/Tony Bing Gaming. Great guy. Also has a Patreon account as well. If you guys want to support him, I'm sure he would greatly appreciate that, as he spends a lot of hours and financial resources being able to do what he's able to do in covering all things Marvel Strike Force. Love that game, man. It's a great game. My EMI Alliance, we're actually on a little bit of a break right now with the holidays and all that, so the timing very, very freaking good. All right, so let's get into some more show. I'm looking at how much showtime we've got left here. We've been on the air. Oh, not that bad. We've only been on the air for well, see, I hit the recorder late. So I think we've been on the air for like about an hour, which is pretty solid. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's keep going. I got definitely a few more topics that I don't mind getting into on this very episode. And where do I want to go? So we talked about Raw. We talked about SmackDown. So look, Enzo Amore, he recently talked about the ejection that he had received at the Survivor Series pay-per-view event. Well, he's now saying that he was pulled from that because of Vince McMahon, right? And I read this, and I'm just going, oh my God, can we please have this dude shut up already, because he's irritating us. I don't know what. He's like a pimple that just basically won't go away. All right, so he made an appearance at the West Side Comedy Club in New York City earlier this week, following the WWE live event at MSG. And he talked about the stunt. He said that he bought a ticket and sat ringside for the Survivor Series pay-per-view event back in late November. Word got out online. Enzo was there, and his controversial exit and all that. So basically, why did he do it? Here's what Enzo had to say. And I know you guys had loved the last time I did the Enzo voice, so it only makes sense for me to do it in his voice this go round.
Why did I do it? Had nothing to do with my music. I'll tell you why I did it. Because I knew for a fact that Vince McMahon would hate it more than anything in the world, but he would respect the fuck out of it. That's why I did it. Because it was about one person, and that was it. Because I proved to him that I could beat him at his own game of statistics and numbers, and this and that and the other. And I don't even work for your company. I broke no laws. I bought a ticket. And with that said, I did purchase my ticket. $2,500. My name was on the ticket. They could have found me.
And he also talked about a moment he had with Lisa of the WWE security team and how she wanted to take him backstage to meet Vince.
So I'm looking at her and I go, Lisa, I'm a good person and you know it. We had this moment. It was the most intimate moment I've had with a woman in years. I looked in the eyes and I go, I'm a good person and you know it. She goes, you gotta go see Vince. I go, I don't work here, Lisa. She goes, you gotta go. I gotta go what? All of a sudden, I see cops coming, security coming from every angle, and I look at her one more time and I go, I deserve better. And she just slowly let go of my shirt as the cops and security guards are closing in. And this woman wants to take me to see Vince McMahon. I swear to God, I go, I'm out. Up the fucking side door. I had an Uber waiting out there. As I was walking by, two fans go, is that Enzo? I go, yeah, come back here. I took a picture with them, hopped in the Uber. How you doing?
So, yeah. Look, man, look, I said it. I don't care how he wants to try to justify doing this thing at Survivor Series. As far as I'm concerned, I said it on the show. Immediately, it was my immediate gut reactions on the Survivor Series post show. You can go back, it matches up. But I said even back then, and I still stand firm now, even though he said what he said and he's trying to justify. No, that is very disrespectful. That came off as such a arrogant, as such a dickish move to do, because you were disrespecting the many boys and women in the back. All they want to do is go out there and they want to perform in front of their fans. They want to put on a good show. They want to do everything they can in their power to make the fans leave that arena happy. And you were nothing more than a big distraction that was taking away from their job. That's what it was all about at the end of the day. I mean, why do we have to lie? Why can't we just be honest and say, hey, I did what I did as a publicity stunt. I did what I did because I was trying to bring attention to the show that I was trying to do. You had so many people that were in attendance at Survivor Series that talked about how when they came out of their freaking arena and they were trying to get to their cars, how Enzo, probably most likely him and a couple of other people that he probably gave a couple of dollars to, had put flyers and stuff all in their cars, all on the street lamps and all that shit, basically say, hey, come check out whatever Eric Arndt or whatever, Enzo Arndt, whatever. So, no, just call it for what it's worth. Just fucking own it. Just fucking own it. It's sad. It's really sad. See, he knows he has to do stuff like this, and we should know he actually, now I don't know if he was at attendance at the MSG event this week, but there were fans in the area that had took pictures with him. He was pretty close to the MSG event, and they took pictures with him. So here he is again, kind of, what's the right word I want to use? Kind of sloppy seconds, if you will, trying to piggy on back from the WWE once again. I'm not hating the game that he's playing. I just wish it could be a situation where he would just man up and say, hey, look, what I'm doing is very strategic. You got to admit it. I'm basically utilizing them and I'm putting the spotlight on. But let me tell you something. If WWE hasn't already implemented it yet, whenever WWE does these events, I would like to believe that there's going to be, well, see, that would be very taxing, wouldn't it? That would be very taxing, wouldn't it? You know, I can't help but wonder, and I'm actually going to research this, and, you know, because I'm actually friends with a police officer, and my girl is good friends with someone that is a police officer as well, that's pretty connected to the government and all that as well, has sources in the government. I'm going to research this. I wonder if WWE could have a trespass set up in a way where Enzo has to be X amount of yards away from whatever arena that they may be at. Like if it's a situation where he can't even be in that same city where WWE is going to be doing their events. I wonder if something like that can even be structured. Now, if you guys want to jump ahead and you want to give me some info, definitely go ahead and do that. But I definitely am going to follow up on that. I, again, wasn't even thinking about talking about that part of the whole Enzo thing. But now when I kind of marinate on it more and more, I can't help but wonder, could they do that? Could that company have it set up? And if you can have that set up, is that basically a situation where WWE would constantly need to do that in like every single city that they're going in? Or like how exactly would that work? It's very, very interesting when I just try to wrap my brain around that, if it's even possible. But I mean, WWE, in the meantime of all of this, I got to give them props because they are continuing to basically do their best to ignore this man. They are not giving him any type of press whatsoever. They're continuing to do it the way that they need to do it. And for Enzo, it just looks very sad. It makes him look very pathetic that he can't go and make his own mark. He can't stand on his own 2 feet without continuing to ride off of the WWE coattails. And it's pretty fucking sad. It's pretty fucking sad. I'm sorry. I've yet to see pictures of people, hey, went into the blah, blah, blah store and picked up some new Enzo shades or Enzo shirt or Enzo pants or Enzo condom or whatever. Or Enzo, consensual penis condoms, consensual penis cereal, whatever the fuck. I haven't seen people flock in and taking pictures and all that of his shit yet. So whatever, man. This guy is just fucking pressed as I don't know what. Hey, shout out to Pat McAfee. He has signed a new multi-year deal with the WWE. He revealed it on social media. He is still going to do his thing with the pre-shows. He's also going to be helping the WWE out as far as digital content goes. This is great news. Look, I'm excited for the young man. What he does with his NFL commentary and everything, he is awesome. He is really awesome. He is charismatic as hell. He's energetic. He brings a unique approach to his color commentating. There is definitely he is a one-of-a-kind type of guy that you don't see come around that often. He really, really is. And I always have the biggest smile on my face when I see him part of the pre-shows, because I know it's going to be entertaining. I know it's going to be worth it for me to stick around just to hear what all he's going to be saying. What I'm going to be paying attention to most going forward, now that he signed this new multi-year deal, is he going to continue to have the type of room that WWE has been giving him? Is he going to continue to have the amount of free rope that WWE has been giving him so far? Or now that he has this new multi-year deal, is this going to be a situation where he's going to get molded? And I really hope they just continue to let him remain the way that he has been, and if anything, just improve upon that, because he can get even better than that under the right teaching, right? So I'm hoping that this is a situation where Paul Levesque is saying to Vinnie Mac, hey, no, he's perfect. Let him stay exactly the way he is. We're not going to be in his ear, and no. We're not going to shape him up. No, because before he came to us, he was doing his thing over here and he was tearing it up. No, we're going to let him remain intact. So hopefully that continues to happen. And I'm very curious what all is going to be happening with any outside projects, non-WWE related. Is he going to be able to continue to do some of those things? I can't help but really wonder. I watched a very interesting documentary over the weekend, and it was a fascinating documentary. I'm not sure how many of you guys have Showtime, but if you have it and you have Showtime on demand, do yourselves a favor, especially if you were fans of East Coast, West Coast rap back in the 90s, and you remember the whole Death Row Records, Interscope, Bad Boy, and all that. Do yourselves a favor, check out the Suge Knight documentary. It's titled American Dream, American Nightmare. And you don't really learn anything new as you're checking out this documentary. It's basically an interview that was conducted with Suge Knight between 2011 to 2012. And you really do not learn anything new. You know, one thing that kind of raised my eyebrow a little bit is the part where, and I got to give him a lot of props, the director of Equalizer, Training Day, I can't think of his name right now, but he's the one that basically was behind directing and putting together this documentary of Suge Knight. He worked his way into basically getting Suge Knight in the perfect position where he says to Suge, you know, there's been a lot said about what happened with Tupac that night. A lot of people felt that you had Tupac set up to be killed. And Suge Knight took the longest pause as he's driving, showing the director and the production team what all had transpired that night from what he remembered as they were driving away from the fight and everything. And he took the longest pause, and he had said, basically, and I'm paraphrasing, he said, look, you really stop and think about it. No, Tupac meant more to me alive than dead. And he had revealed a very interesting conversation he had with, oh God, I think it's Levine, the guy that was in charge of Interscope. I'm actually going to have to look that up right now because I don't want to mess up the guy's name. I want to give him the proper respect. I want to say the guy, yeah, Jimmy Levine. And so basically, my memory's kind of, you got to forgive me, I'm having some brain farts. But basically, once Tupac was shot, killed, and all that, Jimmy Levine had this conversation with Suge Knight where he goes, hey, nothing beats a dead superstar. Congratulations, you're going to be making a boatload of money off of a dead guy. That's basically what Jimmy had said to Suge Knight. But as far as Suge was concerned, no, Tupac meant more to him. He was worth more to him alive than dead. So that kind of made me raise the eyebrow a little bit. And also because immediately after that, Suge continued to remain silent. And he pulled the car over. You're thinking, oh, what, is he upset about something? What's going on? The cameras go black, but you hear him. He's throwing up. And so you're going, damn, is he throwing up out of guilt, remorse? What the hell is going on here? But I'm trying to think if there was anything else that was really, I really did not learn anything new, but as far as a revisionist history, it was nice to go down memory lane. Tell you the other things that stood out to me too was hearing from Suge Knight's own mouth how his childhood was for him growing up, talking about how before the gangs and all that had penetrated Cali, how it was very segregated. You know, it was mainly nothing but white people, and then you had a few blacks that came in. It was almost kind of like a Raisin in the Sun. You remember how there was the part where Sidney Poitier and his family, they were looking at that nice home, and they were going to be the only blacks in that entire neighborhood, and the white committee heard about it, and they tried to send some guy to basically represent them and basically get Sidney Poitier and his family to not take that home because basically their kind wasn't wanted. Suge Knight was basically talking about how it was growing up in California in that aspect, and how eventually the blacks started coming and Crips, the Bloods. It was interesting to get his recount of how Cali was going through those difficult years. Crips, Bloods, the gang wars, the Rodney King beating, of which I've said many times on the show over the years. I lived in California during that time period. I was there 91 to 92. I didn't come to DC until late fall of 92, going into the beginning of 93. And it was crazy during that time period, especially when the Niggas with Attitude, Straight Outta Compton album had dropped, Chronic, Doggy Style, and all that stuff had dropped, man. It was crazy times back then. It was also cool to see Suge Knight's parents. Now that did surprise me. They talked about how good of a kid he was growing up and how proud they were of him, of all the great strides that he made and the hustling that he did to basically get to where he is. That was nice to hear from them. Also, his uncles. And, you know, again, this was only recorded from the period of 2011 to 2012. And sadly, it did not go all the way up to capturing Suge Knight's thoughts on, okay, well, how do you explain this stuff that's been going on with you in 2013 and in 2014? And we know ultimately Suge had got incarcerated. He's doing 28 years right now. That's it for him. And it's so fitting when you watch this very brass, this very arrogant rap mongo who's basically, yeah, I'm the motherfucker. These motherfuckers wouldn't have shit if it wasn't for me. And he's smoking his big fat cigars, chilling on the yacht and all this other, you know, bullshit. And just the fact that he was strong arming his way to obtain contracts, things of that nature. You know, it was kind of fitting to see this guy, for as cocky and arrogant as he was, to see him at the very end, he gets incarcerated for 28 years. I just couldn't help but say, wow, it kind of reminds you of Al Capone almost. It was just, it was fascinating from those standpoints. Check it out when you guys get a chance. I promise you won't be disappointed. It was pretty good. Like I say, you won't learn that much. I mean, if you've been paying attention to that whole time period, you know everything. You know everything that's involved. But there's a couple of things in there you'll raise an eyebrow and you'll go, okay, all right, that's kind of cool. I see that the Punisher season 2, notice, is supposed to be dropping in January. We've gotten no trailers yet at the time that we're doing this recording right now. If that's not a sign that Netflix may be done with the Punisher after this second season, I don't know what to tell you guys. But I'm seeing very little hype from Netflix with regards to this series. Hate to say that, but that's the truth. So look, we know what had went down with the first season. Basically, the main antagonist was the rise of the Jigsaw character, and there was a corrupted CIA operative. Of course, Jigsaw used to be a former ally of Frank Castle, right? And we also saw that in the mix of all that, there was a soldier that was dealing with, post-stress disorder. He was dealing with PSD, basically the fighting the good fight overseas. It took its toll on him, and we see him in the position that he was in. So a lot of that was really, really fucking heavy. This second season is going to be even more powerful, as it looks like the main villain is being described as an alt-right, basically a white nationalism and extreme conservative. So I'm very curious to see how that's going to be playing up. But they basically had said you're going to have to wait a good minute to finally see Frank Castle bust out the Punisher once again. Like, I guess he's trying to do his best to live a nice quiet life or whatnot, but they said through many episodes it's going to be a case where it's going to be epic when it finally gets to that point where he puts on the Punisher vest once again and everything. So I will be checking that out. I will definitely renew my Netflix subscription. I have not renewed it yet. My subscription has been canceled now for, I want to say, 2 months. I will renew it just to watch the Punisher, and once I'm done binging, I will cancel it once again. Maybe in between I'll watch some other cool stuff as well, but I will cancel it. I'll definitely bring it back once the third season of Jessica Jones comes into play. Shout out to my girl Jordan Grace. She had wrestled for Progress Wrestling. They did a Progress unboxing event. She defeated Jenny to become the Progress Women's Champion. If you guys recall, she debuted for the Impact brand back in October of this year. Also, for 1 weekend only, Johnny Gargano from WWE is going to be heading to the Evolve promotion January the 18th out in Brooklyn, New York, and on the 19th in Queens, New York at Evolve 119. He's going to team up with AR Fox to take on Austin Theory and Josh Briggs. And then the next night, he's going to be taking on the Evolve champion Austin Theory in a non-title matchup. Look, this is WWE Evolve's partnership. Gabe Sapolsky, he's been friends with the WWE for many, many years now, and they've had this great working relationship. So I'm very curious to see how that event's going to be playing out. I want to try to see if I can do everything in my power to check that out. This weekend at Reality of Wrestling's Christmas Chaos 8 show in Texas City, Booker T's promotion. Well, the ROW champion Rex Andrews challenged Booker T to a one-on-one matchup, and it looks like that's going to be going down at January's The Last Stand, ROW's The Last Stand. And if you guys recall, that should be very significant to y'all, because Booker T had stated on the Steve Austin podcast a while back that as far as him coming back to pro wrestling goes, as far as coming back into the ring, he said that he could see himself doing it one more time, but that if he were to do it one more time, he would be doing it for his own respective promotion. And as far as doing something for the WWE, he pretty much had said, no, unless it's going to be a dream matchup, like maybe me and you, Steve, go at it once again, or maybe me and The Rock. He pretty much was like, nah, I'm not really seeing myself doing anything in the WWE ring. If I'm going to be doing anything in the ring, at this point, it's going to be with ROW. And Booker T, he returned to the WWE back in 2014 just for commentating and all of that. But when you think about the very last time that he did something in the ring, he hasn't done anything in the ring since WrestleMania 28. That's the last time that he did something. So for you fans of Booker T, you are a little bit familiar with the ROW promotion, or maybe you just are a Booker T fan in general, and you're hearing this and maybe you want to see Booker T one more time, that's going to be your opportunity. I'm going to try to see if there might be a way for me to check that out, because I'm definitely curious. You know, one of the DVDs that we had got as part of the Pro Wrestling Crate a couple of months back was the best of the ROW promotion. I've yet to watch that, but since I've been having a little bit of downtime, I'm definitely going to be checking out a lot of those DVDs. So there's going to be some great reviews coming up in the coming days, so be on the lookout for that. New Japan Pro Wrestling, their New Beginning shows that's happening in USA, they sold out. Now, Kevin Kelly, who is now the new English color commentator for New Japan, he had revealed that the January 20th Los Angeles show, it had sold out in less than 20 minutes, while other outlets were reporting that the February 1st Charlotte, North Carolina show had sold out within 90 minutes. So that's really good for them. Kelly had noted that there will be more tickets put on sale very soon. Now look, the thing that everybody needs to understand, when you hear this type of stuff about, oh my God, the tickets sold out, when you hear that, you know, I always try to tell you guys, you gotta be fucking careful. A lot of this is done to create buzz. A lot of this is done to create hype. That's always been the case. That's always been the case when, you know, these tickets get sold out and all that. And let me just take a good sip of this tasty, refreshing beverage here. That's good stuff. Tonight it is grape soda. For those of you that may be a little bit curious, it's grape soda. Really shouldn't be having it, but kind of feel like I need a little bit of a pick-me-up right now. Also helps me be able to slide through the show very easily here. All right, look. Let's say Metallica is coming to the O2 Arena, right? And they say, hey, we're going to be releasing on Thursday a small handful of tickets. If you know the code is blackened. Tickets will go on sale Thursday with this special pre-sale code, and general public, everybody else will get the tickets on Friday or whatever, right? So they may say, okay, well, look, just for shits and giggles, right? We know the O2 Arena is really big. I don't know the exact number of seats and all that in front of me, but let's just say 60,000 seats, right? Okay, just hypothetically speaking, stay with me. Now, let's say that when the tickets first go on sale Thursday because of a special pre-sale code or whatever, let's just say that out of those 60,000 tickets, let's just say they put up 15,000. 15,000. It sold out within minutes. Okay, well, you don't know the exact number, but I'm just telling you guys. Let's just say they put out 15,000 and they sold out. Ah, man, they sold out. Okay, well, your next opportunity is going to come on blah, 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 blah. Right? That's how it goes. Blah, blah, blah. And the next thing you know, once those tickets get sold, all of these guys, they do it every time. They got to give a certain amount to the radio stations, to podcasts, to XM Sirius, all those outlets, right? Vendors, all that shit. Scalpers, all that shit. So I want you guys to remember that, because it's easy to create hype. I saw so many people that were tripping over the whole Becky Lynch thing, and that doesn't mean anything. It's no different than when I was sitting in front of my computer throwing my fists in the air like Dr. Doom because I was not able to get CM Punk tickets for the CM Punk meet and greet at Pro Wrestling Tees earlier this year. I think I told you guys about that, but it was fun because I was in front of the computer the night before. I had put in my credit card information. I had made sure that everything was good to go, saved. All I had to do was just click, get my ticket, check out, boom, I'm done. That's all I had to do. And I was in front of my computer at the respected time, because basically they said that 12 p.m. Chicago's time, the tickets were going to go on sale, right? So basically, I'm in front of my computer 15 minutes before. I'm navigating one more time, making sure I'm logged in. I've got my page bookmarked, and within 5 minutes until the time of 12 Chicago time, I'm just refreshing. Boom, I see when the tickets go live. I had the tickets in my cart. I try to go and check out. They're like, sold out. I'm like, fuck. And I was mad, and I started to just go in the other room and just take a nap. But I was like, wait a minute, didn't they say something about if they were able to sell X amount of tickets, they were going to release another batch? Didn't they say something like that? And sure enough, I had their Twitter feed open, and I see a new notification, and they were saying, hey, we saw that blah, blah, blah tickets that we released initially, which was a small handful, those were sold out in blah, blah, blah. We're going to release the rest now. Give us about 5 minutes and it'll go live. And I'm just refreshing. Like every 30 seconds, I'm just refreshing. Went live again, got it that second time, and I was in. So, I mean, that's how it goes with a lot of these things. I think what we all really need to be paying attention to is when it comes to events like this New Japan event that's going to be coming up. All right, well, just exactly how many seats, right? How many tickets were in fact sold? How many people are in fact going to be in attendance? And does it match up to whatever the claim is going to be put out there, right? That's what we really should be paying attention to. So, I mean, this is great press for Ring of Honor, or correction, for New Japan Pro Wrestling, I should say. This is great news for them, but let's see what happens. I mean, look, their G1 Climax San Francisco special, that was great. That what they did, that was great. That sold out very, very well. I'm not doubting that it's going to be jam-packed houses when they get ready to do these events, but you still got to be a little bit, well, let's see how the actual attendance is first. I was thinking Ring of Honor earlier because they actually are teaming up with New Japan once again. They're going to be presenting Honor Rising in Tokyo on February 22nd and the 23rd. This is going to be the 4th year in a row for that show, which traditionally showcases matches pitting both promotions' wrestlers against each other. So far, matches have yet to be announced, and so far for those New Beginning New Japan Pro Wrestling USA shows, no matches have been announced just yet. Over the Top Wrestling, they announced Pac, formerly known as Neville in the WWE. He will take on OTT champion Walter at its upcoming February 17th show in Dublin. That's very interesting. When you stop and think about it, that's very interesting because Walter was recently signed to a WWE deal to be part of the NXT UK division. So you can't help but wonder if Pac is going to be picking up that title as Walter basically makes his way out. So I'm going to be paying attention to that one very, very, very closely. Also, WWE Saudi Arabia. Looks like right now they've got May 2019 and November 2019 penciled in for those respected events, according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter. On a related note, the bonuses from Crown Jewel just came in. Looks like it's being noted that the reactions for those is mixed. Some talents very happy with the bonus pay, while others are not. So, kind of find that very interesting. Water under the bridge when WWE gets ready to do these next two events. I'm very curious to see how they are going to be received by the North American audience when they get ready to make their return to these events again, depending on how much more stuff comes from Saudi Arabia. So they're going to be paying attention to that one very closely. Got to give a shout out to WWE Hall of Famer Beth Phoenix. Beth Phoenix will be the first woman inducted in the George Tragos Luthez Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame in the Dan Gable Museum. This is going to be happening July 25th through the 27th. You guys want tickets, all that information, I'm going to actually hook you guys with that info right now. I wasn't even going to hook you guys up with that info, but I'm actually going to go ahead and do that. I'm actually really excited that Beth Phoenix is going to be doing this. I really am. She is definitely very deserving. I personally feel puts a smile on my face. It really does. She's done a lot for the business. She has been a really great ambassador. Yeah, so right now they have all access passes available for only $100 through the end of the year. You can contact the Wrestling Museum via Twitter at Wrestling Museum. Contact them at area code 319-233-0745. Once again, that's area code 319-233-0745, or you can email them DGM staff, that's D as in David, G as in George, M as in Michael, staff like event staff, DGM staff at nwhof.org. Once again, DGM staff at nwhof.org. Congratulations to Beth Phoenix, very deserving of that. And it's kind of interesting that this came about, and then you have Chyna's mother. Chyna's mother had put out a post on Facebook, a plea, if you will, basically saying to WWE, hey, now is the time to put my daughter in the WWE Hall of Fame. She's requesting that WWE goes on ahead and finally does the right thing. And she said, WWE, listen up and do what's right for Chyna. You owe her that for what she did for you and women's wrestling. I'm reading it just as she typed it. WWE, listen up and do what's right for Chyna. You owe her that for what she did for you and women's wrestling. She earned her place there, and it's long overdue. Even Sean Waltman, X-Pac, he had tweeted on her birthday, which was on December 27. He had said, and I quote, "It's Joni's birthday, and I was thinking of all the remarkable things she did. She was the magic ingredient in the DX recipe. IC champ, wrestled Chono in Tokyo Dome for New Japan Pro Wrestling. She was an amazing woman. I hope she's honored. Day before WrestleMania soon. Just seems like the right time." So I wanted to see if Chyna's mother had said anything else, because I'm pretty sure that she did say a lot more than just that. Let me see if I can actually pull up the entire statement here for you guys here. Let me type in Chyna's mom, and I'll see if I can find the rest for you guys. I believe I've got the entire thing that she posted, because I was pretty sure there was a lot more that she said. Yeah, she said, as many of you know, yesterday would have been Joni, Chyna's birthday. I truly appreciate all of the messages and remembrances of her that were posted by so many of you. As you can imagine, it's always a very sad day for me, but it helps a lot to know how many people remember her and loved her. It's one of the worst things in the world to lose a child. We have to get her into the WWE Hall of Fame. She richly deserves to be there. Even had Mick Foley share one of his last recollections with Chyna as she had came by to see him, and he was showing her pictures of his kids and everything, and kids actually had met her, and he had admitted that, hey, it's long overdue. It'd be really nice if she could finally get into the WWE Hall of Fame. And it's sad that around this time of the year, and I've been dealing with this every freaking year since she died, and I'm not saying that as if I'm irritated, because I'm not. But I've been dealing with the question in some shape or form online during the show every single year, which is, Lee, do you think Chyna should be in the Hall of Fame? Of course she should be in the Hall of Fame. The question is, when will she go into the Hall of Fame? Steve Austin put Paul Levesque on blast on the WWE Network Stone Cold podcast, one of many that basically had WWE say, no more Stone Cold for us. And you had that sorry-ass weak excuse that Paul Levesque had gave, which was basically, hey, kids Google Chyna, and you know what they're gonna see. They're gonna see her porn history and all that other crap. And it's like, really? Because when I put in Chyna the wrestler, I mean, yeah, I type in Chyna the wrestler in Bing, and the first thing I see is her Wikipedia. I also see Chyna, WWE wrestler and entertainer, dead at 45. I also see Chyna nude 2016 pics. But mostly I see Raw debut, things of that nature. But that nude thing, that's like the third thing that you see. So, I mean, yeah, it is kind of, and let's just say, for the shits and giggles, let's just say that's a legit concern. Well, look, if you're going to operate that way, then don't you think that maybe you should, I don't know, blackwall or blackwash, whatever you want to call it, blackball? Don't you think you should be doing that to Sunny? Sunny had did a porno, and I'm sorry, when I put in WWE Sunny, let's see what happens. I put in WWE Sunny. I see Tammy Sitch nude, hot pics, naked. I see arrested. I see former WWE Sunny inks porn deal with Vivid. So, I mean, and heaven forbid, if your restriction level for images is not on moderate or strict, when you do the Sunny or Chyna search thing and you're trying to look at images, you're probably going to see some stuff that you have no business seeing if you're under the age of 18, right? So I think that argument is just flawed to no end. And what this is really about is, I think, honestly, if it was up to Paul Levesque, if he did not have to answer to a McMahon, I honestly believe in my heart of hearts that Paul Levesque would have Chyna go into the WWE Hall of Fame. And I'll tell you the reason why, and hear me out on this. And I had cited this episode before, a couple of weeks back, but there was a very powerful episode of Truth with Consequences that Vince Russo had did, where he talked about the overall life and career of Chyna, and he answered the question as far as who is responsible for the demise of Chyna. Like, was it WWE? Was it Chyna? Who is ultimately at fault? And when he talked about Paul Levesque, he said Paul Levesque was a knight in shiny armor, basically. He was Joni's savior. Paul tried to do any and everything to protect her as best as humanly possible. He genuinely, from what he was able to tell, he could tell that genuinely Paul did love Joni. And that once Paul got with Stephanie, I think it was a situation where Paul was just too embarrassed, too hurt to reveal what was going on to Joni, because he knew deep down, and probably by that point, he knew of her history, all of that. He knew of the pain, the heartache that would be bestowed upon her, and he didn't want to have her go through that. And he tried to, as best as he could, not smart. I'm sure if he could change a couple of things in retrospect, he would. But just the way that things were handled after that by the McMahon family, and it all was really, really bad. It all really, really was. And if you ask me honestly, Chyna will always be in a Hall of Fame. For me, she's already in my Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. In my mind, she's already in my Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. I don't need the WWE or anybody else to give her that nod. She's already in my Hall of Fame. I told you guys how, on this very episode, I told you guys how with the Evolution pay-per-view, how it would be awesome if they could do a yearly thing tailored, built around the Evolution pay-per-view events where they induct a female wrestler into the Hall of Fame. Why do you need to do the Hall of Fame come the weekend of WrestleMania? Who said you need to do it then? You can always induct somebody once throughout the course of the year leading up to the weekend of WrestleMania, right? And for Evolution, I put the idea out there that it would be a really cool ass idea for them to do that. There was so much that I had talked about, you know, and it sucks because all of this stuff I talked about at one point, it was up on YouTube by a certain party, but they had got bent out of shape over some of the things that I had said, and rather than man up and be a mature individual, they wanted to basically, and they did, pull a Thanos and deleted all of stuff like what I had just said offline. But and for that sole purpose, that's why I'm now getting back into uploading clips of the show on the channel. For me, it's not about the views, it's not about the clicks, it's not about the subs, it's about really good, insightful food for thought. That's what it's really about. Making it enticing, making it be engaging, making it be thoughtful and provocative as much as humanly possible. That's what it's all about for me ultimately. But she's already in my Hall of Fame as far as I'm concerned. I don't need the WWE to do the nod and everything like that. Sister should have been in the Hall of Fame. She should have been able to go in before she passed, quite honestly. Quite honestly. And I'm going to stick to that. See, what else can we get into? I hope it happens for the mom, though. I hope that, on a serious note, before the mom passes, I hope that something can be done. I mean, my God, there's a WWE DVD special right there waiting in the wings. There's so much that you can do with that. Egos, what it's all about, egos, bitterness, all needs to be put to the side. I mean, it's one of those things, wow, you can make peace with Macho Man's family. You can make peace with the Ultimate Warrior. You can make peace with Bruno Sammartino, right? You can mend all these bridges, but damn, we're still doing this with Chyna? Like, seriously, we're still doing this dance with Chyna. A couple of years now that she's passed, we're still doing this dance. Crazy. That's all I gotta say. It's crazy. See, other than that, you know, look, 2018, definitely a rough year for some of your favorite promotions, in particular WWE. The Raw flagship show just ain't what it used to be. I would like to believe that with 2019, you know, some of these talents, the shakeups that's going to be happening, I would like to believe that they're going to be pretty impactful on the main roster. But I would also like to hope and believe that as we get past the New Year's Day holiday and it's on to the road to WrestleMania with the Royal Rumble, everything starting with the Royal Rumble, I would like to believe that the quality of the show is going to get better, especially from the standpoint of SmackDown will be going to Fox. And Fox is, as any network should be, expecting nothing but really good things now that they have this multi-year deal with the WWE. So I would think that WWE upper brass wants to do everything in their power to make the Raw brand be as successful and thriving. Look, they might not be able to get back to the Attitude Era or the Ruthless Aggression Era days, but can they get back to where they were almost around that time period when CM Punk was still with the company? Yeah, they can. They can definitely still get to that point. The question is, do they want to? That's the thing. Do they want to? So only time will tell, right? But look, if you are a fan of WWE and you've just been going on and on and on about Raw and blah this and blah that, there are so many other options that you have at your fingertips. You've got NXT UK, you've got NXT, you've got SmackDown, you've got 205 Live for whenever it's going to remain in the picture. Whenever the Mixed Match Challenge comes back, you have that. You've got the yearly Mae Young Classic tournament. I would like to believe there's going to be another Cruiserweight Championship tournament. That would be pretty awesome if they could somehow figure out to bring that back. You've got the MLW promotion, which is continuing to win fans over each episode, every single week. Impact Wrestling, we talked about this passionately. It is a show excerpt available on the YouTube channel. And we talked about the growing pains that they've been experiencing. We've talked about how, you know, the good, the bad, and the ugly of what's going on right now with this new deal that they have with Anthem. And it sucks right now that this new deal with Pursuit is all the talk right now, and instead the focus isn't really being put on how far the promotion has come through its difficult growing pains of talent that they've lost left and right in just the past 5 years, 3 years alone. And they've just been rebuilding. They've been putting on a really good product. You have Ring of Honor. They continue to thrive. You've got New Japan Pro Wrestling on Access TV. You know, you've got, and New Japan as a whole. New Japan as a whole is continuing to do well. Some people feel that the Elite is a bit too much. Some people honestly, genuinely feel that way. I think it's just a matter of opinion, quite honestly. And that's for you to decide, right? But it is up for debate. You've also got Lucha Underground. Pretty questionable what's going on with them whenever they do gear up for another season. How much longer are they going to be able to continue to stay at it? Is El Rey going to continue to be a financial backing partner, or are they about ready to go in a different direction? What's going to happen with that? You've got Rey Mysterio's Era Lucha promotion. You've got the Women of Wrestling, co-owned by Lakers Jeannie Buss. That's going to be having a weekly TV show on Access TV beginning in January. So, I mean, when you just really take a step back and you pause for however you may be feeling about maybe WWE as a whole, or the WWE RAW show, or maybe a wrestling promotion that I did not name just now that you're checking out and it just ain't banging, there are so many alternatives. And ultimately there is your local indie wrestling promotion that you could go check out every week or once a month or however many times that they're doing an event down the street from you. You've got those as well. It is a really great time to be a pro wrestling fan right now. As long as I have been doing this show, I have been doing this show since 2011 to date. I have put out, just of the RCWR show alone, I have put out over 635 episodes. 635 episodes. And I can tell you, I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot of bad. I've seen a lot of WTFs. I've seen a lot of good. And as long as I have been podcasting and just happening to cover all things wrestling entertainment and beyond, from the wrestling standpoint, this is a really good time to be a fan right now. So as I go into 2019, I'm excited as a wrestling fan. I am excited to the point of, okay, well, let me see what's going on with these other promotions. They're getting this continuing buzz. Let me see what's going on with them. I want to talk about these promotions. Let's see what else is going on out there. You know, when you're fed something for so long, you're drinking something for so long, it's like, so this is it? And you get complacent. But looking at everything that's coming about right now, I'm loving it as a pro wrestling fan. So I'm going into 2019 with a smile on my face, and I can't wait to see what pro wrestling has to offer. I know it's definitely gonna shake up the way that we're doing our shows on here. There's definitely gonna be a lot more stuff we're gonna be covering here. I'm still a little bit on the fence on whether or not I want to get back into doing a Monday night show. We had polled you guys a couple of weeks ago asking you all, hey, would you like for the RCWR show to return on Mondays? And I saw the results, and it gave me a lot to think about. And I'm not sure if I want to do a Monday night show just yet. I'm still a little bit on the fence. Just have to wait and see with regards to that. But I'm definitely excited to still be doing this show all of these years later. And, you notice you have certain shows, they will just drop off the face of the earth after about 1, 2, maybe 3 years. And then when something monumental happens, something big, Raw gets its lowest ratings for that respective week, or Raw puts on such a really bad show and they see people talking about it on social media and they think, oh, well, this will easily get me 10K views. Let me go flock, and then where are they next week? They're nowhere to be found. But shows like me, we continue to come in and pump it out every single week for you guys. And I don't care if it's a situation where I'm entertaining 1, 14, 100, 1,000. It doesn't matter to me. I appreciate anybody that takes the time out to welcome me, whether you are at home or at work. I appreciate the fact that you, the listeners out there, you do your very best to welcome me with open arms. It really means a lot. You guys have no idea how much I appreciate you guys. I always see off and on over the years, and it made me laugh over the weekend. I saw some comment that somebody had said on YouTube, and basically the guy didn't like the fact that I was politely telling this one person to, hey, you're watching a pre-recorded video. The question, basically, I was trying to tell him in a nice way, the questions that you're having, it's most likely answered in the piece. Just keep watching it and then wait till the end, then ask your question. That way I don't keep getting notifications every 3 minutes that you got a new reply. And this one kid tried to get all bent out of shape. You're always talking down to people. And now look, does every podcaster have cockiness, have arrogance? Fuck yeah. Anybody that tries to lie about that, they a goddamn liar as far as I'm concerned. But I have done, in the past 2 years alone, I have done a much better job in really trying to be more friendlier to people that go out of their way to check out my shows. And before we had the whole stuff get out of hand with the trolling in the comment section, you were able to see that. We have a tight-knit family here that's part of the RCWR Nation. People that come in every single week, check out the shows, let their voices be heard, all that good stuff. A lot of these cats just want to kick back. They don't want to call into the show and we say, hey, we got the phone number. They just want to be entertained. That's what it's all about at the very end. They just want to be entertained. And I don't mind that. If nobody wants to call in, that's fine. The few times we've brought a phone line in, people didn't want to call in, and that's fine and dandy. And the people that did want to call in were basically spam callers, basically, So, I appreciate our listeners. I do. And I've always lived by the philosophy of, if you want respect, give respect. And I always say to my fellow brother or sister, treat me the way you want to be treated. I would think with respect. That's how it is. If you're a kid, I don't expect you to you're going to do what you want to do. But I mean, if you're, my God, 25 and up, it's like, come on, you should be doing, come on, you should be rolling better than that. Come on, But, if I'm looking forward to 2019, I really am. I'm looking forward to continuing to build off of the base that we have. I'm also looking into some new outlets as far as ways of branching out even more with the show, possibly reaching out to new networks. I do appreciate all of the sponsors that we've hooked up with over the years. I definitely appreciate the new partner that we have currently with Fight TV. I do appreciate working with them. Everybody that we've been able to hook up with, man, new friends that we've been able to make, new followers we've been able to gain. I appreciate all of that. And if anything, in 2019, I'm just looking to continue to build off of that, right? And we've got a lot of fun, cool stuff that's going to be planned for you guys in 2019. And I'm juggling all of this while now officially being focused on a wedding. I can't wait. It's been a long time coming. We got a big announcement that's going to be coming on the next edition of the RCWR show. That's going to be on Tuesday, January 8th. It is a big announcement. Now, at the time that we're recording this, 9 times out of 10, our Patreon members is already going to know what the announcement is. But everybody else will be hearing the announcement officially on next week's RCWR show. Put it to you this way, the RCWR show is, no, that's all I'm going to say. It's great news. It's great news. It's almost kind of becoming a yearly tradition, though, but I love it. We're going to save it for next week's show. But yes, I'm excited for 2019. I hope you guys are as well. I know this year was probably a little bit rough, even if it wasn't rough from just the wrestling, non-wrestling standpoint. You know, look, we all have been going through some very difficult trials, tribulations this year. We all have probably been tested in some shape or form this year. I want to say to you guys, do not lose faith. Do not lose hope. Continue to stay positive. 2019 is round the corner. If 2018 was not your year, there is no reason for you to have a Debbie Downer and feel as though life is over as you know it. Go into 2019, seize, smash, grab, and take it. Make 2019 yours. That's definitely what I plan on doing with this coming year. I'm going into the new year with the biggest smile on my face, ready to embark on some new, fun, somewhat scary challenges that's going to be coming in my life, whether it's professionally, spiritually. I'm embracing it. I'm looking forward to these new challenges that is to come. And yeah, so I really hope that what I said, you find that you can put it in your heart and all that good stuff. Hey, look, for those of you that's going to be celebrating, getting your drink on and all that, celebrating the new year, please, man, please, for your friends, your family members, your loved ones, don't be a knucklehead. Don't drink and drive. Get yourself a Uber, get yourself a Lyft, taxi, whatever you got to do. Have a friend hook you up. Do not drive behind the wheel. If your friend or family member, loved one will allow it, see if they can give you a pillow, a blanket, you sleep on the floor, or if they got a spare bedroom. It goes a long ways. It's a lot better than being behind the wheel and doing some stupid shit. All right? Please, I implore you, right? Do not drink and drive. Drink responsibly. I want to be able to see and hear from all of you guys in 2019. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use the keywords The RCWR Show. If you haven't done so already, do subscribe to the YouTube channel at youtube.com/The RCWR Show for more great, exclusive, and fun content that you won't be able to find anywhere else. I'm wishing all of you all to be safe and most importantly be kind to one another, and may the good news be yours. I will see you in 2019. Adios.